In this video, I'm going to analyze some FIFA World Cup stocks that I'm watching for potential day trading and swing trading opportunities. You'll learn about how I interpret the fundamental analysis of these stocks, how they are related to the World Cup, and of course, technical analysis, a very highly requested topic, so you don't want to miss this video. You guys know that as a fellow Canadian, I have to support our own national team. Canada finally returned to the World Cup after 36 years. So comment down below and let me know which country you are supporting. And don't forget to smash the like button because each one like equals one goal for your team. The first stock that's worth looking into is DraftKings, DKNG. So let's start with fundamental analysis. DKNG is one of the largest publicly traded sports betting companies. So you see the connection there? The World Cup is not only the most exciting sports event in the world right now, but also one of the biggest betting opportunities for gamblers. Specifically for investors in the US stock market, the World Cup 2022 could have the biggest impact on the American sports betting sector, since the last time the US played in a tournament was in 2014. The sports betting industry has just experienced a big surge after legalization prior to this year's World Cup. The US is also one of the qualified countries this year, so it could lead to a big surge in new users and quarterly revenue for DraftKings. If you take a quick look at DraftKings, their most recent earnings report on November 4th, 2022, you can see that they are indeed still losing money, and you can see they lost a lot more than investors and analysts expected. It's a net loss above consensus, but they did guide higher for fiscal year 2022 and 23. So they can definitely use this boost in terms of revenue from the FIFA World Cup. So now let's move on to DKNG's chart and do some technical analysis now. You can see looking at the daily time frame over here, this stock has been a long-term downtrend pretty much since the end of 2021. But what's good and what's positive is that you can see it's starting to consolidate just below the 200 SMA, this green line over here. Now, I'm not endorsing gambling, betting, or sports betting in any way, but this stock chart for DKNG is looking juicy to me at the first glance. Now, let me show you how I do a simple technical analysis on the chart to identify the key levels, trends, and potential trading setups. So like I mentioned earlier, the only indicator I use on the daily chart is the 200 SMA, simple moving average. This is at a quick glance, show you whether the stock overall on a long-term trend is bullish or bearish. If you're staying under, then it's bearish. So in this case, DKNG, you can see we kind of broke down that 200 SMA since the end of nearly last quarter of 2021. Since then, the stock was trading around $55. Just since then, kind of slowly dripped all the way down to 28, 50, and at lows, it was trading around $10 over here. So this is the 52-week lows. So as long as staying under the 200 SMA is still considered bearish. However, you can see that it's starting to retest that indicator a couple of times. We tested that during the little bounce we had in August of this year, once, second time again September, and now was consolidating once again November after the entire market bounced with a recent FOMC meetings. So again, what you're looking for is that you want to see the stock hold above it. So ideally, you start setting in higher lows. So until a meaningful higher low is set and forming above the 200 SMA, the stock is going to continue in a long-term downtrend. So two kinds of strategies I'm looking to trade on the stock. First, for day trading. If this thing gaps up overnight, let's say tomorrow it gaps up over the 200 SMA, then I'm looking for a gap up short on the stock. Just because of the long-term downtrend we talked about, I'm looking to short the gap and fade the overnight gap up if it was a day trade. Now for swing trading, then it's a little bit different. If the stock does indeed break above the 200 SMA, breaks above it and start consolidating around the $16, $17 level, you can see the 200 SMA, this green line is at 1570s. So if it starts consolidating above $16, $17 area and creates a meaningful higher low, then it's worth watching for swing trading on the long side. And over the 200 SMA, I think you could have potential upside all the way to this area, 20s, $21. And if it comes and goes higher, and if the market turns around and give us a nice rally, then you could potentially see higher to $24, $25. Moving on to the next exciting soccer, or should I say football, stock that I'm looking at, which is Manchester United, ticker symbol MANU. Okay, I know this is not really a FIFA World Cup stock, but the stock price of this English Premier League football team is on fire right now, as it's currently on a wild ride to the moon since November 21st. You can see the stock went from $13 to almost $30, more than doubling in the last couple of days. A lot of news has been boosting the stock price lately. From the departure of superstar Cristiano Ronaldo to news of Apple's consideration, again, potential consideration of buying Manchester United. And there's another rumor that Saudi Arabia's sports minister has potential intention to back private sector bids for the team. You can see on this chart right here, Man U shares have gone on a wild ride. The stock has surged, I think, 68% to add about $1.5 billion in value in the course of the last 3 days in market value. And you can see it's traded from $14 to almost around $23. And that's all the way back to the levels from, you can see down here, from 2018. It's never traded that high since. So, and this is a stock that actually day traded today. So we're back on my actual trading execution platform now. You can see this is a daily chart on the left side, and I have the intraday chart on the right. So just looking at a trend on the 15-minute chart, that's what I use. On the first day of the news is when it gapped up. I didn't trade it the first day. Second day, I traded a little bit on the long side. But you can see once you zoom out on the higher time frames of 15 minutes, the stock has been on absolute tear on the uptrend. It's really clear, as you can see, if you line up the lows from the first day of the breakout, the stock never broke the uptrend. So it's been extremely bullish. So when I trade, I like to zoom out and look at the short-term trend, which is, on an uptrend. So in that case, then I'll just be buying the dip, right? Don't fight the trend. The trend is your best friend in terms of day trading. My original plan was to trade the gap up reversal strategy, but the stock then needs to sell off a little bit more on profit taking after the open. It didn't quite do that. You can see at the open, it just surged from $20 pretty much straight up to $23. So it never had a meaningful pullback for me to find an entry to long the stock. I only found one here at 21.80s, and I added some at $22. Over here, when this thing pulled back from 22.80s, so around that I have an average 21.90s. I sold some into the pop around 22.25s, and I held the remainder of my shares, intending to sell them higher around 22.60s and a higher the day. And potentially, if it stays strong, I'll hold it overnight. But that's not the case. You can see after that little pop, I sold 1/4 of my shares, 22.23s, and the stock just eventually broke down. I didn't like the fact that they couldn't hold $22 area right here. You can see this $22 area was the prior support that I wanted it to start consolidating, hold higher lows once again, and continue higher, continue the uptrend. So we're back on the daily chart. The reason I say the stock is getting a little extended technically is because it basically increased by 68% over the last couple of days, from $13 to $23. And 1, 2, 3 days straight up with extremely high volume. Highest volume traded was 33 million today. And today was a half day. Today the market closed at 1 p.m. the day after Thanksgiving. But if you kind of zoom out to the 2018 levels, we're reaching some key daily resistance around the last time it traded here in 2019, $21 to $22 range, and there's another little spike here around here, some more resistance at $23. So we're reaching some key daily resistance, and it's all up on a lot of talks, a lot of news. So the danger with these stocks having so much volume and being so extended into a potential buyout news is that if there's no confirmed news that it's getting bought out by, I don't know, Apple, Saudi, or whoever else bidding for the company, if that news doesn't get confirmed soon, you're gonna see a lot of profit taking short term. Because what's happening right now is what we call in trading a lot of times, buy the rumor, sell the news. You're gonna see a lot of potential profit taking soon, especially when this volume surge only happened after the rumor started. Okay, now going back to my trading strategies for Manchester United. For day trading, I think short term, if the stock keeps on holding this uptrend that we talked about, that's been holding for 1 to 3 days, if it still holds a trend, then I'll stay long bias on the stock and it's still a buy the dip opportunity for me, just like I traded it earlier. So comment down below if you guys want me to make a video on this trading strategy. This is one of my go-to day trading setups that work very well on stocks that are driven by fundamental factors. So we can pretty much see a potential setup on this strategy every other day. Another sector that's worth watching and related to the FIFA World Cup is sports merchandise, led by Adidas and Nike. With FIFA projecting at least 5 billion viewers, the World Cup is a major opportunity for sports apparel makers to market their jerseys, shoes, and other products with teams and individual players. In the most recent earnings calls on November 9th, Adidas said they're expecting a sale of about $450 million related to the World Cup, which will amount to about 2% of additional annual revenue. So we'll start with Nike stock, ticker symbol NKE. This is a really popular dividend stock, but you can see on the long term, very similar to DKNG, the stock is in a downtrend. Below the 200 SMA, this green indicator here, and you can see it's staying in this huge downtrend since early this year, and we are now actually starting to break above that downtrend. So if we can start consolidating above the 102, 105s area, this thing I think can actually test 110 and potentially a 200 SMA around 113 over here. And a lot of times after I do some basic trend analysis on daily, I like to switch to the weekly chart as well. You can see the downtrend holds up on the weekly chart. You can see a lot of this little wicks, breakouts being sold into on weekly. And now you can see this downtrend lines up over here, which was starting to break out above. So the downtrend at 103s. We're breaking above 105, 107s, went almost to 110s, and now holding about 104s. So this can actually start setting in as a meaningful higher low. Remember something we talked about on DKNG? So if we can start doing that, I think we can see a bullish move to, first of all, test 200 SMA. And then the big factor, a big question mark is earnings call. They have earnings in December 20th, which is coming up. After the World Cup, coincidentally. So Nike stock is actually looking pretty exciting going into earnings, and especially with the boost of the World Cup, especially if the teams do well. The teams this year are France, United States, and Brazil. So keep that in mind. Now moving on to Adidas. I hate to say this, but the chart also looks very similar, except that it's still in a downtrend. Looking at the weekly chart on Adidas, you can see it's still staying in this downtrend, hasn't broken above it. It's still in this huge downtrend. Same idea on the weekly chart as well as the daily chart. So I don't think it's looking as bullish as Nike, but remember, if the teams do well, maybe, just maybe, no guarantees, maybe they'll rally into the end of World Cup, especially if the teams win. And the Adidas jersey teams are Germany, Spain, and Argentina. I hope this video has been helpful for my fellow traders, day traders, and swing traders watching these World Cup stocks. If you're interested in learning more about my day trading and swing trading strategies, then make sure to start from this playlist right here. I received many positive feedbacks from these step-by-step lessons, and especially from beginner traders. So make sure to watch that for my free strategy videos. Let me know in the comment section below if I missed any other soccer or World Cup related stocks, or if you want me to analyze any of the stocks for our next video. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I'm the Humble Trader. I'll see you guys next time.